Greetings, friends. Welcome to the first episode of Pop-Up Sox. I am I guess I'm your host, but I'm just kind of guy chatting with buddies tonight. Magnificent Stan, Brian, whatever you want to call me. Today is Friday, February 10th. Uh, right around the corner, we got pitchers and catchers reporting. So getting together with my buddies here. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Uh, Basically, pop-up Sox, pop-up podcast, basically for the White Sox. I have no schedule for this. I have no intention of turning this into a weekly thing or anything like that. It's just as things happen throughout the season with the Sox, or because we got our guy Yumper here because we got something happens with the Cubs. We're gonna come in with kind of a pop-up podcast. So yeah, here we go. With me today is Yumper from the Yumper and Sfo show from the Tainted Glove Network. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Magnificent Stan? What's up, Bologna?
What's up, guys? I'm excited about this. I appreciate the invite. I wasn't sure when you text me and you're like, we got zip projections and all that stuff. I was like, I'm not sure I'm the guy. I'm more of the flying by the seat of my pants, meathead. This guy stinks. This guy doesn't. But I'm excited to talk shop with you guys.
Right on. Right on. Well, let's start by going over transactions from the offseason. I want to go over the offseason. Then we'll go into a little bit of spring news. We'll talk about WBC. We'll talk about some, Zips projections a little bit here, a little bit there. And then we also have a pile of questions that people asked us on Twitter today, which was awesome. I appreciate everybody chiming in and getting to be part of the show here. So let's start with the Cubs. A lot of expectation coming into the offseason. They didn't have much in terms of payroll sitting around, so like a lot of money to spend, a lot of holes to fill. But they started the offseason obviously this was already set up before the offseason, but they let Jason Hayward go. They're going to pay him, was it $23 million for the season, and just get him the hell out of Dodge. They started their spending spree by going out and getting Cody Bellinger to play center field. It was a 1-year deal. 2020 NL MVP, or was it 19? 19, yeah.
2019.
Before COVID. Okay. So he's a 2019 NL MVP. Hasn't hit much since then. Been a little bit of a disappointment in terms of that, but continues to be a good defensive piece to have out in center.
Yeah, for sure. With the Jason Hayward contract rolling off, that was like the longest contract in Cubs history and most expensive, right behind Alfonso Soriano, who was I think 8 years, 136. They went and signed Bellinger as their first move. They've been having their eyes on Bellinger for a little bit. They need somebody to play center. They had Rafael Ortega out there, who was more of a utility guy and journeyman.
He's gone now, right?
Yeah, he's actually, I believe, with the Yankees. He just wasn't producing, so they took a flyer on Bellinger to see if he can get right. They gave him a 2-year deal for $12.5 million. It's for 2 years at $12.5 million. Okay. But it's an opt-out after 1 year, so he's basically playing for a 1 year. So it'll be a 1 year, $17.5 million deal. Okay. And he didn't have a good year last year. He's been kind of slumping since his MVP season. He had a WRC plus of 83. He hit 19 bombs, which is something the Cubs need, is power. But
they need left-handed power too.
Yes, and his defensive metrics was 3.8 above, and he had a 1.7 WAR, which is good for, they need that. It's a way improvement over Ortega, but you also have a guy who's been slumping, and you don't know what you're gonna get. So I look at it as a kind of like a good risk, because right now, even with the Cubs offseason, they're not really set to win anything right now. It'll be something good to maybe flip, or if he does play well and he wants to stay here, maybe extend in the future. And now you have a center fielder or somebody that can help mentor Pete Crow Armstrong that comes up.
Yeah, he's a good piece to have around when well, I shouldn't say when, but if they fall out pretty quickly. But
yeah, the way I saw it was like it was a low risk, high reward, coming off of, like you said, Hayward. He's gonna give you a better bet than Hayward. And if he gets anywhere near, 2017 to 2019, that's a big plus. I know you guys mentioned the MVP, also Rookie of the Year, right? So he's proven he can do it. He hasn't done it since 19, but You cross your fingers and hope he gets some of that power back. I know he battled a shoulder injury. He's had a couple injuries, so if he can just get right, I really like that signing. I will get to the Sox later and stuff like that, but it's those low risk, high reward stuff. It seems like it could be a good thing.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I think it's a good decision right now, especially when you're not meant to win. Whatever Jed Hoyer says and Tom Ricketts want to say to the fans, this is a rebuild. They should have just announced it in the beginning, and fans wouldn't have been as pissed without the spending. I mean, even right now, after this offseason where they spent over $300 million in contracts over those years, they're still 13th in the MLB in payroll at 168 million. And actually, I believe though the White Sox are actually ahead of them. They're 12th. Yeah. The past 2 years, 2021 and 2022, they were 13th and 14th. So they haven't really spent especially for a big city, franchise.
Do you remember what number they were in terms of payroll when they won the World Series?
No, but I can look it up while you answer.
Yeah, I have the Zips projections up right now, and it's projecting Bellinger 99 WRC plus, 2.5 WAR season, 18 homers, 76 RBIs. Oh, I'm sorry, 65 RBIs, 76 runs. 10% walk rate. That ain't bad. He's got a lot of swing and miss in him, but yeah, I mean, he can play a little first base for them as well. So if maybe one of the outfielders really impresses in camp too, one of the younger guys can come up and take that spot, and not take the spot, but give them flexibility.
Swap.
Yeah. Or if Hosmer shits the bed because he doesn't cost anything, they can use Bellinger at first more with Mancini.
Yeah. Totally, like I said, it's a total swap move that can bring back some prospects for you if he plays well, and if he wants to stay here, you can work something out with them later on.
I thought it was funny that the Dodgers wound up getting Hayward, because essentially, I mean, if you look at production and you look at defense, you look at all that, they're pretty comparable, except Bellinger's had a little more power in the bat. I mean, obviously. We're talking about a guy who was MVP a few years ago, so you have that hope that he's gonna find his way out of whatever was causing his problems. I mean, he had this shoulder issue, right?
Yeah, so he had a shoulder issue. I think a lot of it had to do with basically, his time kind of came up. It's time to see what the other players can do. We had a question in there asked by Taco Gladiator, which is an awesome name, saying, was Hayward a bust? In terms of contract, yeah, he was a bust in terms of contract. He signed a big year deal. I think it was 228 million, somewhere around there, for 8 years. 208 million. There you go, for 8 years, and he was paid like a superstar. And to not fault the Cubs, Theo actually thought he was going to be a superstar, and so did other teams. He actually turned down bigger deals with the Cardinals to come here and the Nationals. Defensively, he was one of the best defensive right fielders. I think he won 3 Gold Gloves with the Cubs. Offensively is where he teetered. He had his best season, I think, in 2019, where he dropped 21 bombs, and was probably one of their best hitters in 2020 during the COVID year. But he just couldn't get consistent, and it's crazy because the guy is built like a fucking brick shithouse. He looks like he could destroy the ball, but just can't get it done.
Well, his years in Atlanta. I mean, his rookie year, everyone expected him to be, the next Barry Bonds. It was crazy. Yeah, he just never developed into that with the Cubs. The one thing I will say is, though, it's something you can't put a value on, and I'll ask you, defensively, yes, he was awesome. There's that story out there where, he gave up the pump-up speech in Game 7 during the rain delay. If that gave them any motivation, if that's any of the case, how do you put a value on, winning a World Series? And obviously the batting sucked, but he was a clubhouse guy. He was a good leader.
They paid $200 million. They paid $200 million for a clubhouse speech.
For a rally speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go by Kevin Fiddler, K-Fizz, he says that speech is overblown.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it absolutely is. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, if it is true, where that was a speech, I mean, yeah. And the 2016 payroll for the Cubs, Brian, was 167 million.
So 6 years later, 7 years later, and it's lower than it was then, or about the same.
Yeah, about the same. And that's when they had superstars like still in their contract years, their arbitration years,
and pitching and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, let's go on to the next one. A couple days later, they signed Dansby Swanson, December 17th. 7-year deal,
177 million. 177 million.
177. Okay. Okay, and he was pretty much at that point. He was the last domino to fall at that point in terms of the free agent shortstops.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of Cubs fans were super happy about it. I thought of it as kind of a looking from the outside, kind of a necessity move. They kind of had to.
The pitchforks were coming out if they didn't sign Swanson for sure. I see Yump, one of Johnny's cousins. He comes on our podcast and talks Cubs from time to time. Cousin John, same way. He was. I mean, obviously, the White Sox had a terrible offseason, but for the beginning part of the offseason, the Cubs fans were just as pissed off. If not, they were just as loud. And if it wasn't for that Swanson move, I feel like I said, the pitchforks were coming out. I like Swanson, though. I think it was obviously a necessity for the Cubs, but I like him. I like his swagger. I like everything about him. I will say he's probably the second best athlete in his household because Mallory Pugh of the Chicago Red Stars is a fantastic soccer player.
Gotta tie it into soccer.
That's all I'll say about soccer. But yeah, I like the move for the Cubs. Yump, what did you feel?
So I was really, really big on Correa. I really wanted Correa really bad. I just think that even though Correa does have his injury issues, he's a generational talent. It's kind of funny because if you go back and you look at Twitter, like if you just want to go by Twitter and you look at Cubs fans, like when Dansby Swanson was starting to have that breakout year, people were laughing like all these shortstops are coming up, and watch the Cubs end up with Dansby Swanson. And I think people talked themselves into getting Dansby Swanson, which is fine. Dansby Swanson's a fine player, but even looking at his career year where his value was like $50 million according to Fangraphs, the year he still had a WRC plus of 116.
Yeah.
Wilson Contreras had a WRC plus of 132 last year. And
their offense is not better now
than
it was. No.
And that's just one of the things. I think he's a great piece to have. I do like Nico moving over to second. I do think Nico Hoerner's fine at short, but now you have probably one of the best up the middle defensive alignments in the major leagues.
And you're also running into a season where they ban the shift, so you have two guys that can really go get it. So that whole team, the whole Cubs team has really, except for third base, really, really good defense.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fine adding him. And he is a good player. He's comparable. He's a leader. That's great. I think that he just wasn't that it factor, and I think they had to resort to getting him.
Right.
I wish they would have stood in the Correa race, but I know the reasons they didn't. Bogarts would have been another pickup, but Bogarts went for an insane amount of money for his age. It was a decent pickup. And looking at their basic signings this year, a lot of the Cubs players we're
gonna get there, Taco. I promise.
A lot of Cubs players they signed. I feel like they're looking at a lot of like low FIP players, like field and play.
Yeah.
For pitchers, like Jameson Taillon, he had a FIP of 3.94, which is decent. They just signed Michael Fulmer. He had a FIP of 3.57. Like a lot of the Cubs pitchers have that low FIP. I think that's good because they want pitch to contact maybe to get the hits to that infield.
I remember speaking of Michael Fulmer, who signed with the Cubs today. If anybody didn't know, I remember being scared shitless of that guy. Like that guy's gonna dominate our ass for years and years and years, and he just started getting hurt. He's got a really live arm, So I don't know if it's still there, but what the hell? Not a bad pickup. The thing about Swanson, I wanted to mention, I like him as a 6-hole, 7-hole hitter. He's gonna hit third on that team, right?
Well,
second, third.
It's funny you mentioned that because the projected lineup is him hitting in the 2-hole.
Yeah,
behind
that's what I was
behind Nico.
And then who hits third?
So this is the Cubs projected lineup for 2023. We got Nico Hoerner.
Who's this according to?
This is according to Fangraphs.
Okay.
So Nico Hoerner leading off and hitting second. Swanson shortstop batting second. Then we got Ian Happ in left. Seiya Suzuki to clean up in right. Eric Hosmer at first base. Trey Mancini at DH. Corey Bellinger hitting the 7-hole, and then we got Morel and Barnhart to round it up. I don't think Tucker Barnhart's gonna be the starter. I think Jan Gomes is gonna be the starter.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's a decent lineup. I mean, you got a couple lefties in there and a switch hitter and Cap. So you got about 3 lefties throughout that lineup.
There's just nobody that scares you, you know.
Yeah, so that's one of the things when we started talking about this, and I ended up, you know, I'm not day to day with the Cubs like we are with the White Sox, so I started like deep diving into it, and I was like, wow, compared to what it was last year, it does look obviously defensively, but now it looks like they're building on some, maybe not this year, but they're like a player or two away from really coming back and contending in the NL Central.
Yeah, I think that Central is like probably one of the weakest divisions, so they can compete. I just don't think they're going to win it.
Right.
If they had gone out and gotten one big ass bat to play at first base or DH, guy that may or may not ended up in Houston would have been an okay option. There's a lot of them. This leads me to Hosmer, Mancini, that stuff. I just didn't see a point in bringing both. They could have gone and gotten something better. They could have gotten Josh Bell. They could have got, there were a lot of options. And I know you and I spoke all throughout obviously our thread on Twitter, our DM thread with the tainted glove. That's all we do is bullshit about the Cubs and the Sox being fucking pedestrian as hell. And it's just they're just kind of leaning into the pitch in that one,
Yeah, so the Hosmer thing is building up his value again.
It seems like, at least from what I read, it was like they're going to go right-handed pitching Hosmer, left-handed pitching Mancini, and it's one of those things where.
And then what Mervis will DH then, or Wisdom, or
it's if Mervis makes the club. That's the only thing that Hosmer is a positive thing. Signing him, I would have liked a big bat coming up, but before even Hosmer signed, people were like, "Oh, so Matt Mervis is going to play first." You can't put that pressure on a rookie if he's going to make the team. First of all, out of the minor leagues, he's only played 1 year. The high level baseball. Yeah, he dominated, but you don't want to put that pressure on him. So it's kind of good that Hosmer's there and Mancini's there to help tutor him. I really wanted a guy that ended up in Houston to be here, not just for him tutoring and taking Mervis under his wing, but actually all the other Latin guys that are on the team, like Christopher Morel, kind of helping him out, and Alcantara that would come up. But unfortunately, the Cubs didn't want to spend money on him.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's also... Well, actually, let's talk. You mentioned Jameson Taillon. We didn't really talk about him. I like that signing a lot. I think he's an innings eater. He's a guy that you're going to need in that rotation as like a 3 when you're ready to roll,
Yeah, for sure. Again, a low FIP guy. 14-5 last year. He had 3.92 ERA for the Yankees. 177 innings, so he's going to give you those innings. 2.3 WAR winner. He also... he's some insurance for Kyle Hendricks. You don't know what Kyle Hendricks is going to give you. One thing I will say about this front office is they built up a nice little surplus of pitchers.
Yeah.
A guy to look out for this year is Hayden Wiesenski, who they got in the, I believe, in the Zach Efros trade.
Yeah, the Yankees. Yeah, he was. I remember reading about him when he was in AAA for the Yankees, and they were excited at that point. Were kind of upset when they traded him.
Yeah, he's not going to be like an all-star, but he looks like he can be a comparable 4 or 5 if he gets his stuff going. And also you got that swing man, and that Mike Montgomery role and Keegan Thompson who can spot start for you and come out of the bullpen.
Okay, it's Justin Steele too, right?
Yeah, Justin Steele, big Steele. He's a lefty. They have a lot of good young pitching, which is surprising. The only thing I have, when, Bologna, you were saying that they are maybe a couple pieces away. Stroh, his contract's coming up this year. He has a opt-in for next, a player option, but who knows if he's going to take it. So his signing was kind of was it just made so fans would shut up, which I kind of felt like it was last year, or were they actually going to do something with him? Maybe they might flip him for more prospects. I don't know.
One guy to look at too, they picked up on a minor league deal last week or 2 weeks ago, was Luis Torrens, catcher. Guy's got a big bat. He's not a very good catcher, but he can lay into a few every once in a while. So he might get some time when, both their catchers are pretty old. So they got some depth there.
sure.
Outside that, I mean, any other acquisitions that they've made in offseason you wanted to touch on?
Like, I think we touched over the big ones. Hosmer, Mancini was a nice little pickup to have some insurance. Fulmer, I think, is a nice little signing. I think they're done now. They talked about possibly signing, Chafin, but I don't see them spending more money.
I'm surprised he's still there. Like, that guy's pretty damn good. Like,
I guess price to try and drive the price down.
Yeah.
Brad Hand, not Brad Hand. Zach Britton's still out there. He's been showcasing for teams. I mean, that if he's
another guy,
on him,
that guy's peak as a closer was better than.
I mean, you don't want to tell Rick Hahn about closers.
Of them,
Yump, I had a question for you, not related to signings or anything, but I was more wondering about second year Seiya. He's got that quote out there saying like his goal is to make the All-Star break or to All-Star team and stuff like that. He obviously shortened spring last year. He had the finger injury. The move, moving from across the world has to take a toll on you and stuff like that. What are your expectations for Seiya Suzuki this year?
Like, I think his zips, his zips are having him hit 21 bombs. His WRT is a little high, but I think he can probably go around there. I think Seiya's a really good player. The problem with
very well-rounded.
Yeah, he was probably one of the best players coming out of Japan last year. Yeah. The problem I had with them putting so much pressure on him as Cubs should spend more money, but I mean every team should. Yeah. But last year having him as a big, that crown jewel of the signings besides Stroman, kind of put a lot of pressure on him. But he started off hot. I think he was one of the best hitters for the first, 3 weeks of the season before his finger got messed up. And he's very patient. He swung at the I think he swung at the least pitches outside of the zone in the MLB, if I'm not mistaken. But one thing I did find it kind of weird is that Fangraphs is giving him a negative defensive metrics rating, and Seiya's got a cannon, and he's pretty decent in the outfield.
From what I saw,
I don't know where that's
really
coming from.
Good out there.
Yeah. So I think he'll have a good season. I'm about maybe 21 homers, maybe hit around 280, and with a 340 on base. I'll take it. I mean, it's growing pains. You got him for 4 more years.
And most Japanese hitters always struggle that first season just because they got to get used to not dealing with a million breaking balls.
Yeah.
So the game is just so much different. They gotta. I mean, they can hit 95. They just gotta get acclimated to hitting it more.
Yeah, totally. I think he'll have a decent year. And he's one of the foundation pieces of this lineup. So hopefully he does have a breakout year.
Yeah, if he becomes an all-star, even like a fringe all-star, that adds. Yeah, I mean they don't have to do as much to stay competitive. One question I had for you too before we move to the Sox is Ian Happ. Do you think they're going to bring him back after the year?
So I would hope so. He's a switch hitter. He could and he's your left fielder. He's been an all-star. He's actually one thing about Ian Happ is everybody was very on him for being inconsistent. He'd have a good half of the season. That's what he was known for. 2020, he had a good season. Well, he only played, it was like half a season. But yesterday was like his breakout year. It was his breakout year. So he's shown that he's willing to put the work in. He actually got sent down a few years ago and came back up to actually have pretty decent seasons. He was their most consistent hitter besides Wilson Contreras last year. I would hope they bring him back, but looking down the pipeline, you do have some prospects that are going to probably try to break through the barrier within the next 2 years. And one of them is Kevin Alcantara, who is just mashing down there.
Dude, I saw those clips, man. Yeah, I didn't know he was 6'7". Jeez.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. I believe they got him in the Rizzo trade. Yeah. And, you have Brennan Davis, who's going to come up. You got Pico or Armstrong. But then again, like we always said, they're prospects. So you never know how prospects are going to pan out. I would like Ian Happ here just to, mentor the new guys coming up. And he's still relatively young.
Yeah, you could put him as a switch hitting DH.
But Cubs fans got to understand, too, that Ian Happ went through the whole trade rumors last year.
Yeah.
So, and he's also a player rep. So he's not going to mess around with Jed and do the song and dance again. Either you're going to sign him or he's going to be traded.
I was surprised I know he wasn't comfortable playing the infield anymore, but I thought he was going to become like a Zobrist type of guy. You can just throw him all over the place. And
I guess like a player like Happ, it'll be telling, how the first half of the season goes for the Cubs and stuff like that. Because, you could see if he's not going to resign or if contract negotiations go
for him.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
somebody you could unload at the trade deadline easy.
I don't know if you'll get a ton from him because he's a free agent, but you'll get a nice little haul if he's having a good year. Like I said, I'd rather have him sign back and then mentor, but I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the front office. Like Brian, you know that. Like I think
I don't think anybody's a fan of the front.
You're speaking our language.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs front office especially, like you saw, you know, we dealt with this rebuild and we didn't get anywhere with this. You guys won a World Series and had the potential to win a couple more, and it didn't work out. But you know, I would be fucking spitting nails at these guys too, especially being so cheap the last few years. They could have done so much more. You know.
I think that's ownership too to deal. And I mean, I know as Sox fans, you guys
100%.
deal with that 100% too. But my thing is, I think a lot of Cubs fans give Jed the benefit of a doubt. When me personally, just looking at the overview of Jed, he's kind of rode Theo's coattails the whole time in Boston, then Ben Sherrington. I mean, his only year in San Diego, they didn't really do much. Yeah, it was a small market team at the time, but he's got to prove himself, like in terms of what he's doing. Theo's not there to protect him, and I think another thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way about him is the way his handling of tenure with other players.
Yeah, and the one thing, sorry, but the one thing I will say is like we know Jerry has been shitty for damn near 40 years and stuff like that. When the Ricketts took over and then you guys win so quickly, you expect to be there every year, especially when you see what the Dodgers do, the Astros do, the Yankees, and everyone else. You were expecting that. We catch lightning in a bottle in 05, and I just hope we're good. But you guys really did.
06, we thought we were going to do the same thing.
I mean, you guys had a good year in 06, though.
Yeah.
But we've known this for, since the 80s.
Yep.
Yump has only dealt with this. When did they take over?
So the Ricketts took over in 2009, I believe.
Okay, so a little more than season. Yeah, so
almost 15 years now.
But it's like you guys were expecting to be there for so long.
Well, the thing was they spent 2018 when they sent the 2017 offseason, they signed Yu Darvish, which was, Yu Darvish, and they picked up Brandon Morrow, which Morrow didn't work out, but Darvish had that one bad year because he was hurt, and then he actually pitched pretty well before they traded him away. But then after that, everybody thought they were saving up for Bryce Harper. And I know Fids has mentioned this. I know Aldo on Pinwheels and Ivy has mentioned this. Everybody thought, oh, the Cubs are going to save up for Harper. And if you look at if you watch that press conference when they got eliminated by the Colorado Rockies, that one game series, Theo's first thing is the offense is broken and there's going to be massive changes. Then we start hearing, oh, the Cubs, the spigot's turned off. They're not spending.
And then they Karnashovist everybody.
Yes, that's
another
Jerry.
pop-up
They
show.
Jerried. That's
a different pop-up show, Brian.
Come on.
But yeah, it's just like I think, like you said, Bologna, they won too quickly in the window, and then now they wanted to reap benefits, and then they found out they weren't going to reap benefits because some Cubs weren't going. But it's Wrigley Field; people are still going to go. Like, I haven't been to a Cubs game since 2018, and I probably won't go again because I'm just not like it's not the front office; it's just the ownership. I'm just not a big fan of either. But I can understand people's frustration with them. And it's not to I'm not trying to be just hate on them, but I'm also willing to tell you the truth, like how it is. And I understand you guys, resonate with Jerry. But yeah, the Cubs are considered a big market team. They should be spending money year in, year out. And part of the issue was not developing that pitching, which is totally something that Jed can fix. But you still have to spend. Like the Dodgers still spend and develop, and the Cubs hopefully learn that. If not, it's just a total failure.
Okay. So I just threw this up while Yumper was talking. This is the Zips projections for the National League Central. I think it's probably pretty accurate. I think the Cubs will probably be around or a little under 500. I think the Cardinals will probably be the only team over 500 in that division because the Brewers. I don't know if you listen to Drafty Pod on Tuesday. We spoke briefly about the Brewers and pitching wise they're terrific, but they have literally no lineup at all.
They got a shell of Christian Yelich. I think the Cubs is probably going to be a little bit below this. in terms of wins, especially if they're out of it towards the trade deadline, because then you got the Bellingers being flipped. You can even have Stroh flipped. So I mean, it just depends. If the Cubs are hot, then maybe they might be around 78 wins. But if they're kind of out of it and those two are having good years, look for them to be flipped.
I don't think the Pirates are going to be that bad.
No, that's a Treasy special. He always bets on the Pirates over.
No, but they actually made a couple of sneaky good moves. Their pitching is still a fucking train wreck, but
who are you to doubt Rich Hill, man?
Isn't he? He's like their ace.
Dude, they had
it's like him and Vinny Velasquez.
They had intro videos for them then, like on the website. Jeef posted them. I was laughing my ass off when they posted them. It's funny to me, but
yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the White Sox for a bit here.
Do we have to?
Well, it'll be quick. I mean, they've only made like one real high profile move, and that was today when they signed Chris Shaw to a minor league contract.
God damn.
I don't even know who that is, but they signed. No, he played for the Giants, I believe, and he was okay, I guess. I don't know. But okay. So Sox offseason started. Let's start with AJ Pollock. He declined his option and ended up going somewhere else for less money.
Seattle.
Which is what a big FU, huh? It's like, fuck this, I'm out.
Last year wasn't very nice if you were in that locker room, you know.
I agree. I'm just saying, like, he's like, I'll take less money to not be here.
Yeah. Watch him produce this year. He's not as bad as it sounds here. So yeah, first obviously they didn't pick up Mendick, they didn't pick up Engel. Obviously let Abreu walk. They started the offseason, their first signing, and it was pretty early on in the free agent period there that they signed Mike Clevenger to a deal. Fuck Mike Clevenger.
Thank you. Yep.
I like the silence. Let's just sit here in silence.
I mean, what else can you say that hasn't been said already on all of the podcasts? But yeah, fuck Mike Clevenger.
Yeah.
And like just looking at the baseball, aspect of it, he's coming off a pretty mediocre year. I mean, his FIP was really high. He pitched 114 innings. He was hurt.
He was a strikeout pitcher before he got hurt too, and he wasn't. Yeah, he's not striking people out anymore.
And looking at his value, I think I told you this like when we were waiting. Like his value for the year, according to Fangraphs, was $3.5 million. The Sox gave him 12 with a mutual option for 23. And we can safe to say he's probably not going to play, but they took a flyer on him. I mean, there was other pitchers out there they could have probably took a better flyer on.
Well, and I want to compare it to when they signed Adam Eaton. I mean, throw the legal shit aside for a minute. It's very similar to the Adam Eaton thing. I think they kind of panicked over the market and they went and grabbed whatever they like threw their hand in the fucking pot and just pulled one out. And, it's Mike Clevenger. Okay.
I mean, crazy thing is, if they would have waited for Cueto signed for a year and $6.5 million.
That was going to be my point.
I don't think they wanted Cueto back.
Like, if you didn't say, he overachieved last year and
massively.
He wasn't going to get there. You're still expecting Mike Clevenger to have a season that he possibly wasn't going to have. So at that point,
he's never had. If you look at his career, he's never really been healthy his whole freaking career. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he got a lot more money than Clevenger did, but yeah.
I don't see Jerry spending that money on a pitcher though. Like I think isn't Jerry's MO. He don't give big.
No, he'll give money to pitchers. It's just on short-term deals. He'll give them like a 3 or 4 year deal. I don't think he has a problem giving someone $25 million a year, but if you're going to get more than 2 or 3 years, you're not going to the White Sox.
And also for $68 million, I mean, big signing this year, is Andrew Benintendi for 5 years, 75, and that's the biggest contract in White Sox history. 4 years, 68 for Talion, I just don't see him doing. But even if you want to go Johnny Cueto, like the whole point, like I had this discussion with Aloha Mr. Hand, like going into last year, you knew Dallas Keuchel was horrible. You knew he was. You had him on your roster though. So Rick
I don't think they knew he was going to be unplayable. Like they thought he was a guy that they could throw out there and give him 4 or 5 innings and keep them in a game if they hit. But they didn't fucking hit. So like,
which is true.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it didn't work out that way, obviously. But
he was on the decline, though, and like you had to sign another arm, and Johnny Cueto just fell into her lap because he was just basically riding horses in the Dominican and chilling, and came out, got prepared, pumped up, and came out. I mean, yeah, he went 8-10, but he put up some decent numbers, had 2.4 WAR for you guys, and kept you guys in a lot of games. So he kind of fell into Rick Hahn's lap. Now, maybe that scared him into signing Clevenger this year. Maybe that's why he did.
Yeah.
But you could have solved that issue last year when you had extra money, but he went and spent it on bullpen, with the Joe Kelly signing, and it just made no sense to me. The Sox do need to spend more, but what he had, I just think the spending was misallocated. Like, it was bad.
The other thing I thought about Cueto was you saw it last year. He was one of the only vocal guys with Lance Lynn, talking about putting the ball in the air or talking about the locker room. And I thought Cueto, especially with a guy like Mike Kopech and stuff, Kopech could learn a lot from Cueto. I don't know how much Kopech is going to learn from Mike Clevenger. Obviously, nothing.
I'm sorry, Bologna. But,
yeah, sorry, dude. Did you see
Jackie just put up a... Oh, my God.
You can put it on the board. Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I got nothing.
No, I totally agree with you, Bologna. And just even looking at this year, you had Josh Harrison out there. They released him. He didn't really have a great year. He had an average like 98 WRC plus. But one thing I did want to mention, like one player that they lost last year, who had a decent year with the Sox when they got him in the after he was released, was Elvis Andrus.
Yeah.
He had a WRC of 119, 9 home runs. His on-base percentage was a little low, but he still had a nice defensive metric, and he had a two-win WAR when he was with the Sox. His projections this year, did you guys look at him by any chance?
He's not even on a team yet.
No, he's not on a team yet. He's out there to be signed. His on-base percentage is projected to be around 300, which is kind of eh. Yeah. But he's projected to hit 17 bombs and have a WAR of 3.5. Yeah. So, I mean, if he's going to be cheap, why not try to see if he can play second?
Well, okay, but you got to think about it this way. Tim Anderson's not a great not a great shortstop. He doesn't have great range. He's got solid range, got a solid arm. He's not great. You put a guy who's 37 and has never played second base in an era where there's no shifts.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think Romy Gonzalez is going to get the job, and I think Romy Gonzalez is going to. He's athletic and quick, and he can play the spot. He's not going to hit, but
we've seen enough people out of position the last 3-4 years that we're like, we don't want to do that. We want people to play their positions. So yeah, I liked Elvis. He had an awesome second half of the year, along with Eloy. We're like the only two guys that you could rely on after the All-Star break.
Well, and Elvis, if you're going to bring Elvis back, you trade Tim Anderson.
I don't think you trade Tim. I mean, if Elvis is for a low contract, just see what he got. Nobody signed him yet. Give him a minor league deal. If he could play second, then you found something.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting. I think he's just waiting the market out. He'll get a job playing shortstop somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, Andrelton Simmons got signed by the Cubs last year, so that tells you something.
Yep.
They're like, he's one injury away from getting called by any major league team.
Exactly. It's like Tom Brady.
Oh boy.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, that was one thing that stuck out to me. And then of course, Jose Abreu going to the Astros for 3 years, $60 million. He had a big year, like Wilson Contreras-esque, 138 WRC plus, 15 bombs. His on-base percentage was 378, and he had almost a 4 WAR. He was obviously your team's best hitter in most offensive categories. But
unless you isolate the 40% of the season Eloy had, he was the best hitter on the team.
Yeah, Eloy's issue, he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
But just looking at Zips, right? My most shocking thing from the Zips is Beef Loaf's boy, Andrew Vaughn, is projected to hit 28 bombs.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to be like a
Yeah.
huge home run guy. I think he's going to be that guy that hits, anywhere from 19 to 24 homers, gets on base I think he's going to get on base at a 400 clip at some point. That's
He-
how
he's a-
good his discipline was before he came to this team.
He reminds me of a small Sean Casey.
Oh
Hit high-
God!
hit-
If he is Sean Casey, fuck yes.
Yeah.
High,
Sean Casey
decent
was
average and a little bit
amazing.
of power. That's
Sean
what he
Casey-
can turn to.
Sean Casey was getting on what 420 clip on base. Like that guy was a monster.
Yeah, that to me is his ceiling.
Yeah.
Like Casey, like I think his top out was 25 bombs, but I mean he had a career on base of 367. So I mean, if Andrew Vaughn can do anything near that, that's all you need. Like that. Of course, you want the power numbers to be there, but if he's not going to hit for power, at least he can get on base and get hit some bombs.
Right.
But this is a season that Eloy needs to step up. Yo-Yo needs to step up. And
yeah.
I mean,
the hate on Yo-Yo is just ridiculous too.
We're expecting bounce back years from half the roster, and that's one of the things where I just feel like you're expecting too much from too many guys.
The funny thing is you can see it though. Like you can see that happen. We saw all these guys produce really well under Renteria. We could see it happen again. These guys are all young. This isn't like we're talking, except for Grandal. We're not talking about a bunch of 36-year-olds. We're talking about guys that are 25, 26, 27 that adjustments, health, and they're back in the run. But yeah, it's a lot to ask for at the end of the day.
The biggest hope I have for Andrew Vaughn, because I'm one of the guys where I'll believe it when I see it, and I'm not convinced. He's gonna replace Pito's production, and I think that's asking too much. But the best case scenario is he starts off hot and he has a hot beginning of the year, because that'll quiet us up. It'll quiet White Sox Twitter and the media and everyone else. If he starts off struggling, I don't know how he can recover, because the pressure is just going to keep building and building and building. And we haven't seen it from him yet.
Yeah. I mean, Yohan Moncada is under the same amount of pressure. I mean, I already see people hating on him in his music videos.
The problem with Moncada, the difference with Moncada is he's owed what, $16 million this year and $24 million next year. So he's got something to fall back on.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If I didn't have Sox season tickets, I would say trade Moncada to the Cubs, and I would love to play there. Watch him play there. But since I go to Sox games, I want to be at the Sox. I want to do well at the Sox.
I'm in the process of trying to find a Yohan Moncada Cuba World Baseball Classic jersey, because I desperately want one. But
if you wear that, you got to wear it with the buttons popped, a gold chain or two.
I actually got like a jumper I can wear under it. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's totally true, Pete. Look at the Sox April schedule. I think the answers about this team will come out quickly. Yeah, you're gonna find out who they are. I don't think they're gonna be as bad as their Zips prediction in the sense of.
No, yeah.
Well, yeah, that just.
But that was them assuming that they're gonna be the same amount of health that it was last year, and you can't fault them for that, because we're talking about 2-3 years now,
and
this same shit's happening.
Well, that and the Zips. The Zips don't. It doesn't account for Tony being gone. We don't know how much that's going to change, and it might not change.
But they don't know, right? They don't know what Grifal's going to bring,
right?
So,
But
I think part of it was Tony, and part of it wasn't.
I mean, yeah, you can't put the whole blame on it, because we did a thing on our podcast where we played the blame game, and I put most of last season's blame on Rick Hahn not doing much after losing to the Astros, and you knew those weaknesses that you had on the team, and they didn't address them, and they did it again this year where they didn't address them. But there has to be some sort of bump, because I do think they took on the personality of their manager.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. What?
Zips biggest slam.
I'm making a Michael McDonald joke. I'm sorry.
No, that's what threw me off. And then Pete's comment. But yeah, so with I don't think Tony La Russa was the right hiring for his club. Obviously, I mean, it's just Jerry trying to create recover a mistake. But being honest, like putting all the cards on the table, he didn't really have the best tools outside of that core they had to work with. I mean, he had to play Andrew Vaughn in right field for God's sakes, and Gavin Sheets in right field. They didn't have a freaking right fielder for a year that he
I mean,
played.
we haven't had a right fielder for 6
Yeah,
years.
but when your owner
I
gives
mean,
you money to spend, you got to allocate to somebody that's going to play right.
Yeah.
I'm glad they signed Benintendi. I think he's going to have a decent year with them, but
Yeah.
you're hurting your team. Like it's just it boggles my mind that you're so close to that window and like you don't know what the hell you're doing in terms of what roster construction.
Right.
And that's what drives me crazy about Rick Hahn. Is that, and then I guess they call him Teflon Don for Ron for a reason. It's just, I don't know. It drives me nuts. How I like, you could see like the holes you have, and he just didn't fill them.
Yeah, I mean, and we could just scream about Han till we go hoarse, but nothing's gonna change. We've seen it with Jerry, and I talk about it all the time, where he's loyal to a fault, and we saw it with Garpax, we saw it with Jerry Krause, we saw it with Kenny Williams, and now we're seeing it with Han. These guys are lifers, and if anything, he's gonna fail upwards when Kenny Williams retires, and then finally we'll get rid of him, and he gets a promotion.
I feel like, and they call me naive, but it seems like Han, when he talks to the media now, or when he let's look at the Grifol press conference, he looked happy. I think this is the first time he got to fucking hire somebody. Like, no joke.
No, like, that Grifol press conference, he was excited.
The trades he made to put the team together, the Sale trade, the Eaton trade, all that stuff, I feel like that was him, and then they pulled it all away from him, it seems like, with the last couple of years. And
so I'm going to say this to that. Like, and this is what irritates me about Cubs fans, too. If you're so good and you can't do your job because your owner is interfering, then you should quit and you'll be hired.
Yeah,
the same thing about Jed Hoyer, how Cubs fans say, oh, it's all Ricketts. Well, if he was so great, he could have left and went somewhere else and got hired.
He was coming off being executive of the year, wasn't he? Like, come on.
That ship sailed now, though.
No, I know. But if it's so bad where Jerry is middling that badly, and I'm not saying he isn't, but if you can't speak up for yourself and try to do something, then you can just leave if you're that great and go somewhere else and get to a relationship that works better for you. That's something that bothers me about that conversation. Like Jerry Mendenly, he probably does, but every owner gets in there. But you have to speak up if that's the issue. And if you can't, then it's all on you. And Jerry is not really the biggest spender, but you guys had the highest payroll last year, and Han went and spent most of your money on the bullpen.
Yeah, that's Jerry didn't have anything to do with giving the bullpen like all that money. That was on Han. And as much as we complain about Jerry, I mean, it's one way or the other. Han hasn't shown that he could build a complete roster, but Jerry hasn't shown that he'll give him the assets too.
Right. And if we're talking about like just the looking at other teams and how they develop and build their teams, it seems like more and more as we go year by year. Bullpens you don't spend money on. First base you don't spend money on. It's almost like a running back in football. Like you can plug someone in there. You can get Danny Boygas to go play first base. You know what I mean? Like there are so many guys that can be converted to first baseman that I was on with Believe in the South Side earlier in the off season, and I said to them, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this. So we're coming off having three. You can't call Canerco a Hall of Famer, but three pretty legendary first basemen,
franchise players,
right? And Jose Abreu. We had one great team. Is it time to try something different?
Well, it's the same thing I could argue about the Bears and their defense all these years with, 85, obviously, but then in the 90s and the Lovie Smith era, you had all these defenses and, you got to eventually offense wins championships in the NFL.
I would argue on the other corner, Pete, as well. But yes, that's a good statement.
I think it's how you build around your talent. Because if you just were going back to the Cubs, the Cubs had Ron Santo, a Hall of Famer, and then they were in that dance with the third baseman for like 25 years before Aramis Ramirez came around.
Yeah.
That was their best third baseman, and then eventually Chris Bryant came up. Now they're kind of going back to that window where they have Patrick Wisdom, who's not nowhere near that talent, and they're kind of like iffy on it. You guys got lucky. I mean, I'm very envious of you guys having, 3 perennial all-star first basemen and a Hall of Famer in that, which is crazy. Uh, yeah, I think it's just the way you guys built around your team, and I think Rick Hahn had it right when he signed you guys got Eloy for Quintana. It was a fleece. Let's just put it right out there. It was a fleece for 2 high prospects when you got Dylan Cease, who's a perennial all-star, Cy Young candidate, and you got Eloy Jimenez, who was just hitting bombs in the Cubs minors league system and came up and started off really hot with the Sox. You also signed them to team-friendly deals, and you signed Luis Robert to a team-friendly deal. Same thing with Johan Moncada. So he did right by getting his team in order that way. It's just one of the moves that he made afterwards make no sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Rick Hahn always gets credit for his contracts, team-friendly contracts. He knows how to, wheel and deal them. When it comes to roster construction, I don't know if he knows what he's doing, or if it's Kenny Williams telling him to do that. And like I said again, if you can't do your job, then you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You should if somebody came at your job, or even your job alone, somebody came and told you you're doing it wrong, or kept meddling in what the hell you're doing. If somebody came and took over my computer to code, I'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I wouldn't want to be there. Like, it's
Right.
if it gets to that point where you're not in control of what you're doing and you're getting blamed for it, then you shouldn't be there. No matter how loyal you are, it's time to walk away. But that's why I don't think that's all completely him being out of control. I think he does have say. It's just that he doesn't know what he's doing in certain aspects.
Yeah, the team friendly deal thing is like the Yohan was a team friendly deal until it's not. It's still, you have to observe your talent and you gotta figure it out if it's worth it or not. When they signed Yohan, I thought, hell yeah, this is awesome. This is gonna be, he's gonna be our franchise third baseman, and he's here for the long haul. And now we're complaining about having to pay him this year and next year. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. It sounded Eloy, same thing. We signed him, and if he gets hurt again this year, we're back at square one. We're what the hell?
But the good thing is they're on team friendly contracts, so they're not you're not shelling out the mega deals for them. Yeah, you're paying a little bit, in surplus, but you still have that. You should still have that cushion of okay, we owe this much money, but we're not going to be hurt for it in the long term, even if it doesn't pan out.
I'm fairly certain this is the season, though. If they shit the bed, and fall behind pretty quick, I think they're gonna just fucking unload everything.
I think Eloy's gone if they don't.
And then
I think everybody except probably Robert and Vaughn will be just out. Everybody.
I think Eloy is probably their main target because the contract is probably going to be a turning point, but he has so much potential. He's probably one of your best valuable pieces if he can stay healthy.
What'd you guys think of the Benintendi signing?
I think it was necessary, but it's fine. It's gonna help in the long run. He actually could field his position, and he's gonna, he'll get on base, and it's better than Sheets and Vaughn out there chasing chickens and crashing into things. But it's still another one of those things where it would have been nice to. We go back to. I'll go back to the team friendly deals also being beneficiary if you're signing bigger stars. The team friendly deal for Yohan would be awesome if you go out and get.
That's
Bryce
the whole
Harper.
premise. Is if you're
thing.
getting deals.
But if we got these guys and then we still have Benintendi in the outfield, it's not that great of a getting the team friendly deal.
And you totally hit it on top of the head.
I think Hahn wanted to build this team like how the Braves are being built now. Everybody is locked up. Everybody's young. I think that was his plan, and just very poorly executed.
Yeah, but I mean, teams have caught themselves trying to be the Braves or the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. That's kind of the hole you fall into. Like the Braves.
Well, the Braves' difference though, they have money. They're spending money.
Yeah.
Well, now they are.
It's just that everybody on that team is young, and they're locked up. If you look at the contracts, it's crazy. They're all signed up for 7 years. It's like 7 dudes in the lineup are locked up for 7 years. Like, I've never seen that before. But that's kind of what I think Hahn wanted to do, and just didn't get the talent in here to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's completely wrong to go the way he did. It's just that you don't fill the holes that are necessary. And like Bologna, you and Pete hit it right on the head. those contracts were made so you can make the big fish. You know, I hate to bring up Pains here, but the year that Machado was out there, he told you what you want. He wanted 10 years, 300 million. And it's all this bullshit about, oh, we gave him the highest paid contract with 2 option years. He didn't ask for team options. He wanted guaranteed money. Yeah. So they didn't offer that, which it has to be on their terms. And this is something that Jed Hoyer does too.
And he sat and waited too. That's the funny part about Machado. He fucking sat there and was like, I want to sign with the Sox. I'm waiting. And they
gave him the opportunity.
He even put out feelers out there of him with his kid in the sock shoes, the black. You know, he was playing
the glove,
hints out there.
all that shit.
But like the fact it comes down to it. He told you what he wanted. Just give it to him. You're gonna have to overpay for talent sometimes, but it can't always be on your terms. This is something that Jed Hoyer does too. It can't always be on your terms. You're gonna have to give some leeway to the talent, and it looks like with Benintendi they kind of did, because the Sox had the longest offer out there for him for 5 years. I think he had 4-year, 3 or 4 year deals, and the Sox just went overboard and gave him a 5-year deal. In terms of him, I think he's going to be a pretty serviceable player. He can play pretty good defense. He's not a big home run hitter on a team that lacks home runs and needs it, but he'll get on base for you. So hopefully, you know, those doubles and the gaps, he'll get you some runs.
I think that with with Menachino gone, the homers will come. But
Menachino Magic?
Look, I figured out how to make it bigger, Yump.
Nice.
I'm not a waste. I knew I'd amount to something. So this is the Zips projections, which I think are absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. I think that all 3 of the Guardians, Twins, and White Sox are gonna be neck and neck pretty much all season, and then someone will turn it up. Maybe he'll make a deal at the trade deadline and turn it up and move past. But
yeah, it'll be shocking if anyone runs away with this division.
I'm hoping just either the White Sox get ahead early and coast through, or they're fucked early on and we know where we're at. Because I don't want them to sit there at 2 games over 500 at the trade deadline and a game out of the division and think that, oh yeah, we still got a shot. You don't have a shot. If you're not playing that well, you're not beating Houston. You're not beating, your Toronto, New York. The whole AL West is going to be good this year too. The Angels did a lot. The Mariners did a lot. Everybody is better in that division too. So, except for Oakland, obviously, they don't count though.
I think the Sox are going to have a better record than 74 wins.
They have to. I mean, they just flat out have to.
Yeah, I think you have to remember too that if they do get hot, there's I think 6 less games within the division they play this year because everybody's playing everybody. So that should help. If they have a big lead, they don't have to worry about it. But I mean, to me, this is a make or break year for Rick Hahn. Yeah, Harper. He
should have been last year.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't. They're getting too many chances. Like Jerry's loyalty has to come to a test at some point. And I personally don't think he gives
never
a shit
has.
That thing.
It never has. I don't think it never will.
And can I be honest? Like, I have a question to ask you. Both sides. This is something I always wondered. Jerry's in his 80s. Who gives a shit if you sign a 10-year deal? Like, are you really gonna make it to that when you're 95 and worry about the fucking money there?
You're making it sound like he doesn't have a board of people that he has to answer to.
Listen, we're talking about Jerry Reinsdorf here. The guy got Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame. he has some pull there. The guy held out Mark Cuban.
So I was about to say he kept Cuban from there.
Yeah, people are listening to what he's saying. So again, if you're 84 years old and God bless him, he lives 10 years, awesome. But are you really worrying about that, $100 million 5 years down the road? Don't you just want to win?
I love the argument, like, spend all the money you can before you're fucking dead.
You can't, not just that. Can't get buried with it.
And if you win another World Series and you want to make profit, you're going to be at the highest, selling value for your team. You think another billionaire is not going to want to come in here and buy it, another baseball team, and I would consider the Sox a big market team. They're in Chicago. They just gotta start acting like it.
For now.
Yes, but
the Burr Ridge White Sox are coming to a town near you.
Yeah, I that's just my like question to you guys. Like, I never understood that. Like, even with the Bulls, but I mean, Michael's running the team, but I mean, I don't understand like how you don't. Who cares about 10 years from now?
Jerry owns a lot more of the Bulls than he does.
Yeah,
the
he does the White Sox.
A lot more. But yeah, Michael's in charge of everything now. I don't think Jerry even has any input with the Bulls anymore. As long as they make money, he don't give a fuck.
But winning brings in more income.
Yeah,
that's how much. Like, the Cubs spent $1 billion in their area, and they found out they thought they were going to go back the old way and have all those stadium filled up again. Now they're finding out, no, we have to have a decent product out there, which hopefully fans get used to. If the Sox did the same, if the Sox had you think the Sox would have? Well, first they have to get people into the fucking stadium, but you think they would have an issue selling out if they were winning more?
Yeah.
No, merchandise would go up, beer sales will go up. You make a hand over fist. Then nobody will cry about tier seating. Like, nobody would care. Like, I'm just being honest.
Well, yeah, I mean,
color coding.
No one will cry about tiered seating. If they're winning, 95 games, 100 games a year.
There's more profit in winning. And I'm not saying you have to go like Steve Cohen style, but come on, you can at least hit the luxury tax. I mean, you're a fucking billionaire. Like,
yeah.
And your team's on the cusp. That's how I never understood that, especially if they're saying that he's so hard bet on winning now, especially that he's older. Then why not, just, hey, fuck it, let's go to $241 million. If it doesn't work out, then we can trade off people.
Jerry is motherfucking Steve Cohen every chance he gets.
Totally. I think he
hates him.
Well, and it's not just Cohen, man. It's Philadelphia. It's
the Padres,
fucking San Diego. Yeah, I mean, teams are just spending.
Yeah, Pete, your point is perfect. They have to pay tax on that stadium, but he didn't buy that stadium. He didn't build that stadium. Taxpayers did. So it's still a profit.
That's our fucking stadium. It is.
I'll look at the lease agreement, but still, I mean, you're still, but take in merch sales. You're still gonna get money either way. You're gonna make some money either way, like merch sales, whatnot. Like, I just don't understand. If you're hell bent on winning at that age, like look at the Detroit Tigers owner.
I don't think he's hell bent on winning though. That's the whole point.
Why does K-Fids miss Pat Morita tonight? That's what I want to know.
He gone.
Anyway, I hope he's hell bent on winning, but that's the reports coming out. That's just a question I've been thinking about for a while. Yeah. I got two good Sox fans. I want to ask you guys that. Like, it just drives me nuts.
So, just kind of eyeballing.
It's our stadium. No, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying
it's our stadium.
The taxpayers paid for the stadium.
It's a revolution. So, yeah, I mean, Zip's projections. The only one that really sticks out is Eloy and Vaughn look good. Everybody else, not so much.
They got Grandel having a 3.5 WAR and hitting 16 bombs. I guess they really have faith that shift is going to help him out a lot. The bending of the shift.
He needs health, is what he needs.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's not healthy, there's not much. I don't know if this is going to show up very well, but other than that.
They put out that training video of him today.
Yeah, he looks in shape like everyone else does in the beginning of spring.
Another standout is Oscar Colas. I know everybody's been talking about him. He's projected to hit 21 bombs this year. They have a WAR of about a one win WAR. I mean, if he comes up, produces that for you, that's a pretty good person to have.
If he has a 283 on base percentage, I think Josh Nelson's gonna pull his hair out in 108. So I don't know, man. The one guy I want to keep an eye on is Jose Rodriguez, because he's raw as hell still, but if he gets a second base job at any point, I don't know if anybody's ever going to take it away from him, because that guy can do a little bit of everything. He's fast, he plays the field really well. He's got power. He's just not ready. He's one of those, but they have an 86 WRC plus projection for him. So 19 stolen bases, 11 home runs, 57 RBIs.
Yeah, the Colas thing. I'd be jumping for joy if that happens, because it's unproven. It's we're hoping for the best, but we don't know zero. Obviously, he did it in the minors, but even then, it's a big difference once you're up in the majors. So I'll be happy if it happens. It's another one of these wait and see guys. We're just hoping for the best.
Right.
We're hoping for health. We're hoping for people to stay healthy and to bounce back. It's just
looking at
springs eternal.
Just looking at the second baseman market right now.
It's terrible.
You got Sox faithful Cesar Hernandez out there. Odor.
No, he signed a minor league deal with somebody.
I know he did sign a minor league deal.
Yeah.
So even you got like Odor and legendary Sox player Yomar Sanchez.
I would give Odor a shot before any of these guys. Honestly, I still think Leury's going to get the job to start the season. I still like
that'll be fun on the internet.
And you know what?
It's always all fun on the internet. So,
Leury gets a lot of shit, but Leury's paid to be a utility guy. He was never paid to be a starter.
Right.
He's your super sub.
Yeah. I'm not one of the Leury crazy people that like hate him. Obviously, it sucks when he's playing 4 or 5 times a week. If he's playing once in second and once in right, like he's playing 2 times a week at most, I think people are fine with it. But it's when you're expecting him to play, 4 or 5 times a week that we're in trouble.
Right. He was never meant to be the guy that. Yeah.
Yeah. Odor had a pretty down year last year. I mean, but
he always has a down year, but he plays good. He plays good defense, and he can get into one every once in a while.
Yeah, maybe you'll walk into maybe him hitting one of his 30 home run seasons again, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Or maybe he'll punch out Jose Batista again. One of my favorite clips. He just punches him right in the fucking ear, and down he goes.
That's a great music video, Mailman Jack.
MC Scat Cat or whatever his name was.
Yeah. I love that video. I used to watch that as a kid. Like, Paul Abdul was awesome, and she was married to the Mighty Duckman for a little bit.
Okay, let's take a look at this real quick. So Jim Bowden from The Athletic suggested Major League Baseball realignment.
My brother has told me to tell you guys Tadahito Oguchi's available for second base if we need.
Hell yeah, I'm down.
I'm in.
Absolutely.
Let's go get Alexei Ramirez.
Alexei,
yes.
I almost added
it is
on board.
Let's see here. And which one is this? Shit. Okay. Here we go, guys. All right. So Jim Bowden. I'll show the other one after this one, but he.
This is the one that matters.
Yeah. I don't mind this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you can't fucking do this. It's a global game, man. Get the fuck out of here. It's like the NBA. It's like hockey. They don't Eastern Conference, Western Conference. They don't fucking matter anymore. Like,
I'm here for it. So I am not a purist. I like when it was, everyone DH'd and I am not one of these guys where it's like the tradition. Baseball in general is losing ground to America's pastime is the NFL. NBA is a monster. I'm going to bring it up, but they're losing attendance to soccer, MLS soccer, and their TV contracts. They need to do something, and I'm okay with this. Obviously, if it stays the same, it stays the same. But when people went through their hands up in arms when the NHL realigned and the Hawks and what about the Red Wings and Blackhawks rivalry? Obviously, it doesn't matter because the Blackhawks stink, but it made sense, not having to play Eastern time zone games and just little things that travel makes things easier. I don't mind it. I like
it. One thing the MLB could do to possibly boost fans.
Get rid of the damn Get
rid of the fucking blackouts.
Yeah.
Well,
100%.
That and yes, and let people share highlights of your sport.
That's another thing too. That's so stupid.
It's so backwards thinking.
They also don't promote their stars. Think of it like Mike Trout was the best player in baseball for years.
Yeah.
How many people really knew about him? And people say, "Oh, he plays in Anaheim." The Angels games come out late. That doesn't mean shit.
Right.
LeBron James, of course, he has a brand built, but he plays in LA. Kobe played in LA. Look how other teams like other sports promote their stars. Patrick Mahomes.
Well, but the NBA is very forward thinking in terms of their footprint on media and everything.
But
yes,
that's what I'm saying. Then they need to outsource to get those people to come over to the MLB.
I mean, all the sports need to look at the NBA and see what they're doing with promotions, because I mean they just slay everybody. Yeah, Major League. We talked about this on my pod earlier in the week. When Herb drafted Mookie Betts. Now, Mookie Betts, really good guy, really fucking good player. Why is he not in every commercial?
Fun
it's
to
the same
watch.
thing as it's the same. Yeah, he's a blast, and they don't do anything with him with Trout, and it's all Aaron Judge, which is fine. Aaron Judge is a good guy too. I mean, it's not but yeah, they don't promote any of these guys. I have a problem. I feel like the Cubs and the Sox should be in a division with the Royals and the Cardinals.
Yeah, the one thing I thought was kind of weird is that the Cardinals are Southwest.
Maybe putting like the Brewers and the Twins with the Tigers, and then like Montreal gets an expansion team, something like that.
Well, the Tigers are East time zone.
Yeah, the Tigers are Eastern.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But it is kind of weird seeing the Cardinals in Southwest. But this alignment isn't as bad as people are giving it. I do like the Cubs and Sox in the same division because now the rivalry actually means something, and we can stop the stupid shit about if you're a Cubs fan, this and that, Sox fan, this and that. No, now the rivalry actually means something. Also, you have the Brewers who were in the Sox division at one time. Now you're back with them, which I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just something to think about. The NFL did it. Do you remember when like Tampa Bay was in the Bears division?
Yeah.
What was that, like the early 90s?
80s.
80s, right? Yeah. I mean, I barely remember that.
Yeah, when they won the Super Bowl, they were in the same division, I think.
But yeah, you got to change with the times. I one thing I will say, it would be cool. It would make these Cubs Sox meaningful. I would not want to go to the games. I hate going to Cubs Sox games. Never.
The way they're doing the scheduling for Major League Baseball now, everybody plays everybody every year now. So like, I think they're kind of moving their way towards the middle on this as well. But
this could happen. I don't know if it'll be risk for the realignment. But remember all those years when people were like, the major leagues is never going to implement the DH in both leagues, and then what happened? They implemented DH in both leagues.
Yeah.
So this is something that could possibly happen. I don't know if Ralph's alignment is correct, but I mean, it's something to think about. I would like the Sox and Cubs to play in the same division. That'd be kind of fun to me.
I'd be open to it. It's kind of cool that every division has like a local rivalry, because you got Cubs, Sox, you got Royals and Cardinals, Astros and Rangers, or you could say, I mean, they're the two Texas teams. And you got
will be the fucking game.
The A's and the Giants, and for now, and then Dodgers and Angels. So a lot of like local rivalries would be brewing. Here's the other one. That East division is freaking crazy.
That would be good baseball to watch. Like
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
The north, like why is Cincinnati in the North division?
Wait, why is Charlotte and Nashville expand? Like, where the hell is Las Vegas?
Right.
Well, they would just move. I mean, it wouldn't be an expansion team, right? Vegas would just move from Oakland.
I don't know. Is that still happening, K-Fids?
I don't know if it's still in here. He's probably still thinking about Pat Morata. But yeah, like I mean,
he's sanding the floor right now.
Yeah, washing
cars. Yeah.
I don't know. This East like is unbelievable. Like the Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, and Phillies. That's like big spending teams. That's gonna be like bonkers, and that'll be like must watch baseball. But the only thing I can see that's dreadful about this is that will only be the games on fucking ESPN.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Charlotte as expansion, that whole region needs a team basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be open for it. There's no, they're like, if you go, there's from like Tampa Bay to Washington, there's like nothing in between there.
I know they want to add a couple more teams. I don't know where they would go with them. Like I know Montreal deserves a franchise because they never should have left that place, but that's where Tampa should go. But yeah, I don't know. Nashville's a good market, but they both have really good minor league teams already.
Yeah, it's like I said, this is Ralph's alignment. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but this is becoming to build a lot more smoke, and when there's smoke, there's fire. So this is probably something being discussed.
Let's get real nuts and put the Savannah Bananas in the.
Dude, it'll be a fucking clown show. I'll totally be all for that. Aloha, Mr. Han says yes. A's reps were in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. So that's something that's probably gonna happen.
I'm down for some White Sox games in Vegas.
Totally agree. Portland, that's another good one.
Yeah.
I am not down for White Sox games in Portland.
I'll go to Portland.
Portland's nice.
Certain parts are not nice.
Okay. Do we want to answer questions or do we want to go to the World Baseball Classic stuff?
Let's do WB. Let's save the question to the end because there's some doozies. We'll end on a high note. The WBC, I mean, you go ahead, but there's only a couple of things I want to mention about that.
It starts in March. I want to say 5th, I think, 3rd, 5th, something like that. Yeah. So what I did, I made actual screens for all the teams. So let's go. We'll start with.
Bologna is in Oregon.
I know. Portland. Give me Portland, Maine. I'll go there.
Oh.
Let's start with Cuba. So here's the Cuban roster. Yoenis Cespedes is coming back to relevancy for a moment.
No Yoelki?
No Yoelki, it doesn't look like. They have our guys. They got Yoan and Luis. I think that's it for major league talent.
I'm looking right now. I don't.
Yeah,
see
I don't.
any.
Yeah, I don't know any of these guys, but
We'll circle that day on my calendar.
Why are we circling the day?
I don't know. Or maybe because the World Baseball Classic starts that day.
So yeah, this team has no shot, but it's nice to show Yoan and Luis on the.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of cool. Oh, Mexico.
There's Mexico. So Rosarena, Austin Barnes.
We got your boy Herb's boy Alex Verdugo on there. Patrick Sandoval.
I like Duran. I think Duran's going to be a solid major league player once he learns how to hit a little better. It's a damn good team. I mean, Luis Urias, Rowdy. They got Kirk at catcher.
It's Zoe's birthday.
Happy birthday, Zoe. I'll put that down. I'll drop off a 30 rack of Bush at the door. The bow on it.
The Prince of Bush Light.
Right now.
I'll just give him a 40. Then pitching, I Taiwan Walker, Urias, Curdy, Sandoval. I mean, this is a good team.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, this has more major league more major league players on this team.
Luis Sessa, Giovanni Gallegos, Oliver Perez, really?
Dude, Oliver Perez is a fucking machine, dude.
He's like 5 years older than me. Shit.
Dude, they got Slim Thick on there. Alejandro Kirk.
Yeah.
Austin Barnes?
Well, I didn't know Alec Thomas was Mexican too.
Yeah, we got to check some of these, how they, Austin Barnes went to.
I want to see their passports.
Austin Barnes went to Cancun one time, and he's like, "This is awesome. I'm staying here."
That's a pretty good roster.
He was conceived on spring break. That's why he was on the team. It's like try to remember what basketball player it was that played for the German national team. He'd never been to Germany, but his grandpa was from Germany or something.
That happens all the time in soccer. Those guys.
Austin Barnes is Latino. His uncle was Mike Gallego.
Okay.
That answers that question. I like my story of that he just has a condo in Cancun.
Oh, I would say Alec Thomas.
It just threw me off. Like I saw Austin Barnes and like I see all these Latino names and I see Barnes. I was like, oh, okay.
Now here's the team I think is going to win. They have the potential for probably the craziest lineup you could imagine, except for catcher.
This worries me though, man. You got Eloy playing, and I'm like, Jesus, like Toby doesn't get hurt. You got Vladdy.
That's the scary part too, is because not only is Eloy playing, they only have 4 outfielders on their roster. Unless Ketel Marte is going to play in the outfield. So Eloy's going to get some time in the outfield. And then Nelson Cruz is the manager, I believe.
And you got Robinson Cano.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he might be remember to hit.
Well, I mean, look at that infield. You put Jeremy Pena probably at second base. You got Machado at short, Devers at third, and then Vlad Jr. at first.
That's awesome.
You got Willie Adames too. Like he's
Adames,
decent.
Wander Franco. I don't know how all these guys are going to get time playing, but
this is like a legit traveling all-star team. Just this team right here.
Yeah, even the pitching. I mean, you got Javier, you got Cueto, you got Alcantara, Hector Neris is amazing. Rafael Montero is really good.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Diego Castillo. It's Brian Abreu is really good. I don't know if you guys saw him in Houston. That guy's got some fire. So yeah. That's the team that you're like, holy shit. I don't know how anybody can beat them, but let's look at. There's Puerto Rico.
Javi Baez, Adnell, Nelson Velasquez. That's a Cub. Christian Vasquez,
Dwayne Underwood Jr. Man, Marcus Stroman.
Dwayne Underwood Jr. was like a player that the Cubs let go, and he just became lights out for the.
He's a good reliever. Yeah.
This is actually a decent roster too. Edwin, I don't know how much Edwin Diaz is gonna play. But you got a pretty decent lineup here. You got Javi Baez, Francisco Lindor. Oh, that infield's gonna be
Kike Hernandez too.
Yeah, infield's gonna be nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Even your catchers are pretty decent major league talent.
MJ Melendez is really good. I don't know if you guys got to see much of him last year, but like a really, really quick athletic catcher.
This is a really good team, but it's just tough when you go back to the Dominican Republic team. It's like, Jesus.
Here's Venezuela. That's a good team.
I'm surprised Wilson didn't play. Willie didn't play for them, or his brother.
There's a lot of players that had to pull out because the teams didn't want them to play. There's a lot
Suarez, Beef Loaf Special. Suarez is there. Gleyber Torres. Maybe he's a future Sox. You never know. Everyone's favorite, Jose Altuve.
This is a hell of a team.
Everyone's favorite.
This team could beat Dominican Republic. Yeah, this team could beat Dominican Republic.
This seems very good, yes.
Altuve.
Is Cabrera the manager of this team?
I don't know. I think he's the general manager of the team. And I think that's what Nelson Cruz was too. I don't think Nelson Cruz is actually managing. But yeah, they got some good talent in terms of pitchers.
Robson Chirinos. Yeah, this is a pretty damn good team. I think Dominican Republic is a little stacked, but this team can give them a run for the money. Their outfielders are pretty decent too.
Let's go to, and I mean, we're only going to probably notice a couple of names on here, but there's a Japan team. Lars Nootbaar is Japanese, apparently.
Togo. Shohei Ohtani, of course.
Yoshida is, I think that's the guy that the Red Sox just signed.
Yeah, they're supposed to say he's supposed to be like a monster.
They just basically, from what I read, because I was reading a lot during the beginning of free agency, they compare him a lot to Seiya Suzuki. He's got good pop. He gets on base really well. I know Japanese, I get it, but
I was just laughing at Jack.
They're fed up with his kids too. But yeah, he looks like he's going to be solid. And then I have a feeling Otani's not going to pitch a lot. I think
I would hope not. I mean,
yeah,
probably-
if I'm the Angels, no way.
Yeah.
but you see, Seiya's actually in here too. So I mean, Seiya can get some early work there against some of the world's best. And then you have shout out to my man, you Darvish, man, getting that extension. I liked you a
yeah,
lot.
Yeah,
I thought
he
that
got
was
paid.
nuts. 6 years. He's 35 right now.
As
That's
long as he's
nuts.
consistent, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a good season. Hell, a good season.
He throws a lot of cutters. They'll stick around.
I think he has like 8 pitches.
And then
He learned the knuckle curveball from Craig Kimball after talking to him for like 2 days. I love you. You's just funny to me. That's why I was so happy.
no,
when the Cubs
he's
signed him.
he's totally like silly and yeah, he's a good teammate from what everybody said. And then there we go.
Here we go.
Okay, USA.
Okay, USA. Thank you.
This is another. You got some mashers on this too. P. Alonso, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Mookie Betts. This is a holy shit. You got Kyle Schwarber, Mike Trout, dude. This team is probably like set to win, dude.
Yeah,
this is
I
totally.
like this team.
Just throw Adam Wainwright every game, just so because I'm tired of seeing him.
And then Jackie's favorite, Kendall Graveman, is on the roster.
Oh, Kendall Graveman.
They just added him the other day.
Miles Mikolas, the Lizard King, is on there.
Kershaw? I would have thought he would have played for the Japanese team, Michaelis.
Yeah, Kershaw.
Do we know if the USA has any of the 5 a.m. games? I want to see Lance Lynn make a 5 a.m. start and make the sensors work.
For anything, I'm hoping he doesn't pitch.
A couple F-bombs get through at like 5:30 in the morning.
But Devin Williams just playing the closer of Milwaukee.
Yep.
Dude, this team is stacked too. Jesus. Yeah. Jason Adam, former Cub.
Okay, USA.
America, fuck yeah! All right, so
I dig it.
yeah,
I'm excited to see some. I won't say they are. I was gonna say meaningful baseball, but yeah, it means something to. Especially means something to these guys.
These guys will play hard. Yeah, they're gonna play
I'm
hard.
excited. I'm pumped.
For sure.
That's the last one I had, so that's all we got.
Cool beans.
Let us go to our questions. What do you guys think?
I'm excited about these. There are some doozies in there. Are you doing all of them or did you nitpick?
No, I'll just read it. I'll read down. That's fine.
All right,
We'll
cool.
go through all of them. All right. I was asked to do this in a hawk voice. Oh God. I don't know if you guys remember during the 108 tournament, but I was doing commercials for people with my hawk doll and yelling into the camera.
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. What is the one trade you would give the White Sox, a TWTW guy, win the division from the Cubs? I don't even understand the question, honestly.
So trade somebody from the Cubs to the Sox, right?
From the Cubs,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
I go Ian Happ.
That's a good one. Marcus Stroman.
I mean,
if we're going fantasy,
I was gonna say Nico. Give me a second baseman. You know, he's a.
If Nico ever became a Sox and the Cubs traded him, K-Fids would die.
Well, can't we? Shouldn't we just answer that it's always going to be Nick Madrigal, and we'll
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's still gonna happen. I would not be shocked.
It might
if that
happen
happens in the spring.
We even mentioned him. Wow, it's like took us like an hour and a half to even mention him.
Well,
Nico would be good. I'll take Nico.
Yeah, Nico or Hap, I would say for me. The pitching, I'm depressed about the White Sox pitching situation because I don't think all those guys are holding up. I don't think Kopech's going to throw more than 100 innings.
We didn't mention Kopech all that much.
We didn't even talk about pitching. The Sox pitching it's so fucking thin. And I'm just talking about starting pitching. The bullpen's fine. I don't have a problem with how the bullpen is. We're gonna see guys like Stever and Sean Burke, and that's my biggest worry. If we start seeing guys like that, Lambert, I like Lambert. I like the Dart. I think Lambert's better in the bullpen though. Lambert proved he could handle.
Every time I hear Lambert's name, I always think of Jordan Miller, who said he was traded. He said it was a done deal for Escobar. So whenever I hear Lambert, I'm like, I thought he was traded because Jordan Miller was adamant that he was being traded.
He's on
Fake-
the
fake news?
plane with Marcelo Zuna.
Oh God, Hector Gomez.
Have you ever
Double
seen that
crossed
guy
me.
respond to me? He
Hector
responds
Gomez.
to every time I talk shit to him on Twitter. He always responds.
Dude, he double crossed me on Twitter, man. I told him to promote Pete, and he promoted Ken WO.
Oh, and the attorney?
Yeah,
He's a true heel.
he's like, I can't go against Ken WO, and Ken was like laughing about it. It was funny, but like totally just hit me in the back with a chair, man.
Okay, next question, and I'm gonna actually augment this one a little bit. This is from AC Green 88 on Twitter. Who sees more time in the Major League roster this year, Billy Hamilton or Jake Marisnick? I will also add Victor Reyes into that conversation. So let's start, Bologna. What do you think?
Wait, repeat that again. I was busy.
Okay.
I was reading Matzowski's Bologna. Meet you at the Valley Inn for Lynn start. I'm in. I'm down for that.
The question is, who do you think is going to see more Major League roster time this year, Billy Hamilton or Jake Marisnick? And then I also add Victor Reyes into that one.
I'm gonna say Marisnick only because if we see, and I'm sorry to Bruhan Luke, if we see meaningful Billy Hamilton starts, we're in fucking trouble, and
Agreed.
I do not want to see that. So, no, thank you.
Yep.
I don't know. It's Marisnick's playing with who right now? He's with who's he signed with?
Who?
Marisnick, Jake Marisnick.
The White Sox.
Is he? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm going Billy Hamilton because Billy can come off the bench, and the Sox are going to need somebody in the outfield. Crossing your fingers, they don't. But Billy can play defense, and he's got speed, so you can get him off the bench to pinch run for Eloy after he gets to single, and he needs some speed on the base paths. Or if that zero base running Grandel's on base and he needs to score a run, you can get Billy there. Marisnick's not trash, Luke. I know Billy Hamilton
hit
too. He's all right defensively. He was.
He's a better hitter than Hamilton, but
it's like you lose.
I'm
a
better hitter than Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean we're
if they're playing, you got issues.
No, I'm gonna say this.
Here.
I actually think that Victor Reyes is going to be the opening day right fielder for the White Sox.
Over Eloy.
Over Colas and all those guys. I think Colas might need a little more time. We'll see. I hope he comes into camp and just fucking slays and gets the job. But I think they're going to give it to. I think they're going to keep Hamilton on the roster, and they're going to have Victor Reyes play right field for a while. He had the potential. He never fulfilled his potential. But Victor Reyes, I just think that switch hitter. He's got a good arm. He's fast. I think he'll earn the spot, at least initially. I don't know if he's a major league player, but
it'll be interesting if Colas doesn't get the opening day start. I feel like White Sox Twitter is going to be sky is falling.
He has to hit. If he doesn't hit in spring, there's no reason for him to come up. So if he's not getting shit done,
they're going to give him every opportunity to get.
The whole team is constructed so that he can get that job. But if he's not going to hit, they got to have someone in there that's going to help him win, and that's.
I want to see Eloy out there, Zoe. I want to see Eloy so I can yell at him from the 108, or hear Josh Nelson yell at him from 108.
I don't think Grifal's going to put Sheets in right field. I think Sheets is going to be in Charlotte. I think Grifal is the type of guy that's going to pull his fucking hair out seeing guys like that play outfield defense.
Billy's faster, better defense, and brings better value. But hey, Jake Marisnick is a beer guy. I don't know.
I don't want to disagree with Luke, but I'll disagree with Luke.
We knew he was going to defend Billy. He's fine. I like Billy too. He is a vibes guy.
He's a 26th man at best, and I don't mind him on the roster. I will say, watching him from 108, I've never seen anybody run faster than that guy can down the base path. But
the problem is we have like 5 26 men.
Right.
You know, we got a bunch of guys that he's the 26th man on the roster, but we got, that's
maybe
Sheets and Berger and Billy and
Maybe
The
Chris
list
Shaw
goes
will get
on
the
and
job,
on.
right?
You know, Quasimodo predicted all this.
He did. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. All right, next question. Who will have a bigger impact? This is from Ryan Clement, who just started following me today. Who will have a bigger impact in 2023? Andrew Benintendi or Cody Bellinger?
Well, for White Sox sake, it better be Benintendi.
Yeah, if he doesn't produce, like
Yeah, I would go Benintendi because he needs to produce.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger's on a team that's not slated to make the playoffs. Like, you're in your window right now, and the Sox need Benintendi to come through.
Yeah,
If-
obviously the upside is much higher with Bellinger,
absolutely.
but it's the same thing. He hasn't done it in 3 years. What do we say? 2019 was the last real good season he had. I could see them having very similar seasons, to tell you the truth. But yeah, if we're hoping to be anything worth a damn, Benintendi's got to have at least he's got to be a bright spot.
I think Bellinger may end up with a higher WAR just because he's a really good outfielder, but
well, and he hits. He
gets
hit more home runs too.
No, I mean I think Benintendi is a better offensive option. I don't have faith that Bellinger, unless they steal his weed, they hide his weed from him. I don't know if Bellinger's going to produce offensively like they'd like him to. So
you never know. He could.
This comes from a guy named Svo. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He asked me who's a bigger White Sox fan, myself or Yumper.
Sneaky Yump, right? I'll
I
say
mean,
that
he has more tickets than I do. Let's
Who you crapping? We'll bring that segment. Who you crapping?
Who am I crap? I don't hate the White Sox, so never have. Listen, man, you know my wife. My whole family on my wife's side is Sox fans. So when I told my brother-in-law I got season tickets, he's like, I knew it. He's like, you're hanging out with the 108 guys. I knew you were gonna get season tickets. He goes, you just say you're a Sox fan now. I'm not a Sox fan, but
just lean into it, man. Come on,
closeted Sox fan.
I'll lean into it, but I mean,
you get to hang out with me all summer. Come on.
Oh, I'm gonna have a time. Like I told,
That's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be a fucking great summer.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna have some fun. I don't care what this team does. We're gonna have fun. That's a promise.
In terms of like official titles, I would say Brian's probably the bigger Sox fan. But like, I never hated the Sox. My second favorite player to Ryan Sandberg is Joey Cora. So, like, I never hated the Sox.
Joey Cora.
Dude,
so how much cheating do you think Joey Cora orchestrated for the 05 White Sox?
All of it.
All of it, probably.
Okay. All right. Okay, this one's from our buddy Roxy. Excluding previous successes, if each organization swapped ownership and management, who would bring home a championship first?
That's a fantastic question.
I would say the White Sox.
I think the White Sox, just because they have more
Jed and Tom, because at least they've shown they can give someone over $100 million every once in a while.
I think it has to be the Sox.
Yeah, if Jerry took over the Cubs and the profit they make,
that
you're
fucking
never
field would burn down.
Again. Yeah, but you're never making any you never make any big deals. Like he's gonna be like that's like where he wants to be, where he's making tons of money and not doing shit. Especially
it's like the early 2000s Bulls. They sold every game out until like 2010 and never won a playoff game.
Yeah, I definitely would say the White Sox, even though I don't really like ownership of the Cubs or front office.
Okay, we're all in agreement on that one then. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to give me 1 second here.
Yo, if people are making Peppo's run, I'm gonna take one too.
I never had
I
a Peppo's.
think they're closed right now. Mailman Jack and Zoe are talking about it.
Yeah, I never had it.
Fantastic.
Bigger Sox fan, Yump or Fids? Definitely me. Fids gets a little, emotional that I might become a Sox fan.
Oh, really?
Because he thinks, well, I mean, if I become a Sox fan with the glove, it'll be 3 Sox fans and 1 Cub fan. That'll be Fids.
Oh man.
4 Sox fans, 1 Cub fan, because Brian.
He'll be surrounded. No, you know what's funny is like I grew up in a family with a bunch of Cubs fans. Like my mom was a Sox fan, but my dad's the worst. He likes both. So
I guess like I'm kind of falling into that. Like I'll call
I've never
hated
bullshit. I've never
bullshit.
hated the Cubs.
I
Like
just see their
have
rivalry.
I have no like ill will. Like people get like irrationally upset. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
care.
I just don't get that. Like, oh, like it's
Like I hate the Tigers and the Royals, Twins way more than I hate the Cubs.
Zoe puts it best. It's not really a rivalry.
Yeah.
okay,
really
I'm ready for the next one here. Cubs statue bobbleheads, creepy or cool? And I wanted to put one up here.
So I think they look horrible.
I saw them too. They're terrible. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it's like I didn't see that one. I saw the one that looked like there was one of them that looked like it was like Marvel zombies. It was just like half a body coming out of like a chest. And it was like, what the hell is that?
What's the point?
Is that Harry Carey? Does Harry Carey have a statue? Yeah, I don't like them. The best bobblehead the Cubs released is their Dia de los Muertos one. That I think I sent to MSF since home. If he can get that, I will buy it off him because I have the Sox one. That's probably their best one. It's like with the candy skull hitting a home run, which I thought looked cool. Besides that, yeah, these look horrible.
Yeah, my official answer for Jack's question is I don't think they're cool or creepy. They're just stupid.
The Henry Rowan Gartner one was cool. I thought that was that's pretty cool collectible.
That's pretty cool. I'm kind of over that too. That guy, he always comes to the ballpark and sings, and yeah, I hate that movie. I thought it was stupid.
Interesting.
There's a couple of cool. I was just looking up the Dia de los Muertos,
the best
Cubs ones, and there's a couple of them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, the best part of that movie was Chet Stepman because he'll eat a Salisbury steak and strike you out.
Do you hate that movie more than you hate Encanto?
No. I'll watch Rookie of the Year. Encanto I won't watch. I'll tell you why.
We'll save it for the live show because I do have that question written down. We'll figure.
Yeah,
it out.
Our buddy, not Larry, I guess we'll call him Jerry. Cubs Sox, who has a sexier infield? Are we talking about like physical sexy or just better?
Not a fan, Jackie. I don't hate it. Just not a fan of it.
I love it.
You would love it. No, I just don't like it. And I've given it several chances too.
Fair enough.
What franchise has a better engagement on social media with their fan base and attracts younger fans? Which is better at supporting podcasts that cover their team? Yikes. That's from Chris McGowan.
In terms of social media reach, the Cubs do have a social media night, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah. And a lot of like the big Cubs Twitter heads go to that night, and it's kind of cool. They have everybody there. They mention them out. I don't know if the Sox have anything like that, but in terms of fan outreach, I think the Sox have like more things for kids at their ballpark, which I'm looking forward to bringing my son to do soon, which I think is cool. I don't know if the Cubs have anything like that. So it's kind of like a 50-50 toss up there.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking social media teams, I feel like the Cubs are more competent than the White Sox. I go back to that the Will Smith, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air tweet that the White Sox had at the beginning of the season, and that came back and it was so tone deaf. It came back to bite them in the ass. Like they do a bunch of that stuff.
That was like the ultimate freezing cold take right there.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's like if we're just talking social media teams, the Cubs are way better than the White Sox.
Yeah, I can't really hate on social media teams because like they're just social media teams. Like I know how people always like, oh, when the Cubs
they're necessary at this point. You know, the good teams do it so well, and it's like noticeable compared to other teams.
In terms of working with podcasts, I think both teams give access to who kind of kisses their ass in certain aspects.
Yeah,
Cubs especially. There's some people that carry the water, and I'm not saying everybody that works for the Cubs, but people carry the water for the Chicago Cubs. They get a little more access, and I think that's kind of with the Sox too. I haven't had an experience dealing with them. I don't know if Pete has or if you, Bologna.
Well, Pete's
I
got
really
questionable character, so I think Pete.
Yeah. That is true. But in terms of just looking from the outside in, I would say both teams kind of like if you kind of like carry a little water for us, yeah, we'll come on your podcast.
Yeah, like
Um,
we've seen Han with White Sox Dave a bunch, and he does do interviews. I mean, they're few and far between, but he does go on them.
But also Brooks Boyer came on the 108 podcast.
Yeah,
So I think that was kind of cool. So I mean, I think it just depends on who you're dealing with.
Yeah, Brooks and the 108 boys have a good relationship. I see him and My Sox Summer talking a lot at the games. Which shortstop has a better season, Tim Anderson or Dansby Swanson?
Tim Anderson.
Yeah, I go TA.
I agree.
I think TA's got it. One, he has to have a bounce back year, but he's also looking to get paid. So I think that's going to be a big motivation. And yeah, there you go. Aloha, Mr. Hand just answered that. Fuck the social media team.
Han was on with Shane Reardon too.
But we said, I mean, the Sox are going to go as TA's the straw that stirs the drink. So we need him to have a bounce back year, and I'm hoping. I'm expecting it.
I think Dansby's good, but he's only had one breakout year.
Yeah.
Well, if you talk to our buddy K-Fids, neither is the best shortstop in
Nico.
Chicago.
And like I told him, I love Nico, but he's not on TA's level yet. And me and him, we talked about it all the time. But I think TA still, he's still at the top of the mountain right now.
Yep, I agree. Let's go. And that was from Jay Holman, Jeremy. And then next one I got from my buddy Mike. Who would you want to kiss more, Yoan Moncada or Cody Bellinger? I mean, I just get lost in Yoan's eyes. So
I'm going to say other, and it's going to be Dansby Swanson.
Yeah,
I know Missy was in the comments earlier.
He is really
Dansby's
nice.
A handsome fella.
If either team signed Williams Astudillo, that would be my pick.
Dansby Swanson he's a looker. I mean, and let's be honest, Patrick Wisdom is pretty good looking too. That left side of the infield, if Wisdom plays, is pretty good looking. I'm just saying, man. I'm just being honest out there, man.
All right.
I dig it.
Andrew Vaughn isn't attractive.
Every time I think of Andrew Vaughn, I think of that picture that Zoe puts up on Pinwheels. That he's like this. It makes me laugh like so much.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Who drinks more pee-pee and eats more poo-poo? The Ricketts or Jerry?
Both.
I understand Bologna has a new metric to
P-War.
weigh. P-War.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually PP War because it's P War and Poo War. So you got to combine both metrics to get to the one that's the final metric.
Right.
And I'm going to say it's the Ricketts.
Ricketts eats more poo and pee. All right.
Yeah.
He does. He looks like Gary Busey, like a young Gary Busey.
A very young Gary Busey.
Oh,
if you ever see, like, if during the White Sox season, if you ever see me just randomly post a GIF of Gary Busey ringing a bell and screaming, that means Andrew Vaughn hit a homer. That's my thing. So
just to go a little movie like thing, have you guys ever seen the movie Surviving the Game?
No, at least I don't think so.
So it's a 90s movie. It's with Ice-T, and he plays this homeless guy who goes up to a cabin, and he's hired by this guy because he thinks he's getting a job, but those guys really just hunt homeless people. And Gary Busey's character in that movie is so fucking over the top. Just go look for it. Like, just watch that movie. He tells a story about his dog. I mean, my brother quote it every once in a while because of the shit he says. It's just so over. It's like when Gary Busey after the accident. So you can totally see his mental state going down. But just watch that movie. Let me know what you guys think.
have you ever seen the car dealership commercials with Gary Busey?
Yeah, you showed it to me. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah, Bologna, if you haven't seen those, you need to.
I got homework.
He did a whole series of car commercials for a dealership, and it's so weird and fucking out of control crazy. Okay, Jackie asked me, Which player on both sides of town has the most punchable face?
Oh, good question.
You know what? Like sometimes I look at Yasmani Grandal and I'm like, he looks like a douchebag a little bit.
Well, Mike Clevenger for the Sox for me.
Well, yeah, that's
No,
yeah.
I mean Joe Kelly, man. Joe Kelly has to get. He deserves to get punched.
Joe Kelly needs a smack.
Yeah, Joe Kelly is
Okay.
my answer for sure.
Okay.
Cubs side, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure who I'd want to punch on the Cubs side. But Kelly deserves a good knuckle sandwich.
I don't know who has a punchable face in the Cubs. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, is there anybody that really? Yeah, I don't know.
Trey Mancini can catch these hands.
Ah, come on, man. You can't be about Trey Mancini.
He's a
man.
Kansas survivor.
Yeah,
what the hell's wrong with you?
I was just looking through the roster. I'm like, who am I picking?
Pick the nicest guy on there, Trey Mancini. Grandal 100%. I don't know. I like Tucker
So.
Barnhart.
Yeah, thank you for reaffirming my yeah, Jake Diekman does
Jake
look
Diekman
like
is a good answer. Yeah.
he does. And it's because he looks like Zoe. We want to punch him in the face. Is that what?
Nah, Zoe's a lovable man. I don't
Love you,
fucking know.
Zoe.
I would say Stroman because he just doesn't shut up
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, he doesn't really have a punchable face, and I actually kind of like him, but he just says some stupid shit.
No,
But yeah.
Nick Madrigal. Just because you know
I don't
you
hate
might,
Madrigal.
just because you know you might win the fight, like you punch Nick Madrigal.
I like Nick Madrigal, but I mean, the guy's been beat down so much. I don't know if he needs to get punched in the face too.
All right.
Keep punching down.
And the last question, and I don't know if any of the three of us are good to answer this one because we don't have much experience with old Comiskey, if any.
Mm-hmm.
It says with modest restoration, and it's a good question. That's why I want to bring it up. With modest restoration and maintenance, if the White Sox had kept Comiskey Park, would it be talked about like Wrigley or Fenway?
Like you said, I don't know. I think I went to Old Comiskey like when I was like 4, like 89.
Yeah.
I think the last time I went, I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah,
So,
so I really can't remember it. Most of my
Yeah.
my experiences were in New Comiskey or I still call it Comiskey, but we're in that field, so I really couldn't tell you. That would be more for an older gentleman that would know.
Yeah, I posted a picture for Johnny's birthday of us running a race together, and that was at Old Comiskey. It wasn't even a 5K. It was like a kids race, and it ended at home plate. And I remember going to games, but I don't remember much of like the actual stadium and amenities and stuff like that. So
I remember. I remember we went once, and it was like my whole family. Yeah, that was my experience. Like the only thing I remember about it was how fucking run down it was, and like where we were sitting, there was a gigantic pole, and we couldn't see like 80% of the game. So,
that classic view.
Yeah,
I mean, parks can be reconstructed though. I mean, Wrigley had fucking concrete falling.
Yeah,
you know what? That's not the thing the Cubs lucked into. They had Wrigley Field because it's a staple of like Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, maybe
it's soaked staple of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, actually, it's a lot cleaner than you think now.
I haven't been there. I've been there once the last 20 years, so I'm just kidding.
It looks the area looks a lot nicer in terms of like the way the ballpark is constructed. They have their own. I think it's called a 1908 club. It's kind of cool. But I mean, I haven't been into it, but it looks nice.
Do they have indoor plumbing?
Yes, they do. The bathrooms have been redone. No trough.
No trough.
Really? No trough.
No, trough is still there, I believe, but I know the bathrooms have been done.
So gross.
Oh, it totally is. I remember as a kid going in there, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
So, what one player? This is my question. What one player on each team do you think will not can but will exceed expectation this year?
All right.
On each team?
Yeah.
For the White Sox, I'm going to go with Andrew Vaughn. I think he's going to take out the zips. I know he's been talked down about. I think he's going to have a pretty decent year. He's not going to make you completely forget Jose Abreu, but he'll soften the blow a little bit.
I'm going to say Luis. we were expecting big things from Luis. And I had a futures bet on AL MVP last season. Obviously,
so did I. Yeah,
and I was like, he's gonna take that next step. I just want him to be the guy. I like the way he plays. I want him to be the next superstar that
I also
we
bet
think
on
he
Eloy
can
hitting
be.
home runs.
So, yeah, Luis Roberts is my answer.
Okay. What about the Cubs?
For the Cubs, to have a breakout year that nobody expected. I mean, you can go easy with Cody Bellinger. I'm gonna go with Eric Hosmer. Everybody expects him to be shit, and I think he might have a decent year and be flipped for mid prospect.
I think when he went to Boston last year, he was having a good year, and then he just kind of fell to shit, didn't he?
Yeah, he kind of went up and down. I think he'll have a decent bounce back year.
Yeah, and I talked about it earlier, with the second year here and the, not having to move and a longer off season and no injuries. Seiya Suzuki can be that guy for the Cubs. So that'll be my answer.
Cool. I forgot to answer myself. I'm gonna go. I think if he DHs most of the season, I think Eloy Jimenez is going to be one of the best hitters in the American League.
Hope so.
I think it's going to happen. I think we saw it. We saw
second half was so good.
Yeah, we saw it start to happen, and then I think with Grifol, Eloy has a background. He has a previous relationship with Grifol. He's managed or coached on some teams, some international teams that Eloy's been on, so they know each other. And I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable. He's also going to be apt to listening to Grifol when he says, "You need to DH. You're not in the field today. Go out there and hit the damn ball." I think Renteria did that with him a little bit, but I think Grifol is great for Eloy. I think Eloy's gonna have like a 35 double 40 homer season, something like that.
Well, he just has to lean into it. I know he's stubborn. He says he wants to play the outfield and he wants to be out there for the guys. But if you just lean into it, you stay healthy and you just mash. I mean, that'll be the best thing for him and the team.
Right.
No. If he's running on the bases, he needs to be smacked.
So I'll go with Cubs. I'm going to actually go with Seiya. We talked about it a little bit, but I honestly think he's going to become that like fringe all-star outfielder that is going to give you, 800 OPS and get on base at a 350 clip, 360 clip, and then he's a very solid outfielder as well. So
totally agree. I mean,
he's going to be like that third hitter that they're going to have in the lineup. Hitting third or fourth in the lineup, and he's going to produce pretty well as long as he's healthy, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
White Sox plan: just stay healthy. Maybe the Cubs will do it too. But
maybe.
But yeah, we're at the 2-hour mark, so I think we should wrap this sucker up. I wanted to thank my guests, Yump and Bologna. Make sure if you're not doing anything next Saturday, hit up the Wiener Circle. These two and their respective groups are going to be doing a pod together at the Wiener Circle, 6:15.
6:15.
Right. And then afterwards, everybody's meeting up at the Burwood Tap for some cocktails.
That'll be fun. I'm excited. I feel like there's been a good group of RSVPs. Yump, you sent the itinerary or like the rundown of the podcast. I've been doing my homework then. It's going to be fun topics. It should be
just going to be all adventures in babysitting, right?
Well, yes. I said Svo wants to talk the Dark Knight, and it might be a 2-hour podcast just on that movie alone. But we'll be talking Chicago movies and some other things.
If you ever do a Dark Knight podcast, I know somebody that would be great for the show.
And yes, that I am holding that in reserve because we are going to do one. We looking forward to Saturday. I'm just glad we kind of hooked up with you guys. You guys are hilarious. It's gonna be a fun night. So come out. Brian, do you have anything going on tomorrow?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a masochist, so this is my second of 4 podcasts this week.
Content machine.
I'm a content machine. Tomorrow I'm going to be on tomorrow night. I'm not sure exactly what time just yet, but I'll update in the morning. I'm going to do kind of a quickie. It's not going to be a draft, but it's going to be a follow-up of a draft. If you guys didn't watch this week, I had Herb Lawrence and Josh Nelson on, and we did a draft of current Major League Baseball players. I'm going to have the White Sox Twitter version of the number crunching monster, which is Alex Rude, come in and break that draft down and tell me I'm a terrible person for drafting Altuve in the first round or second round, I guess I picked him. But yeah, we'll be on tomorrow night, and then Sunday morning, I'm going to be on with Svo and Bruhan Luke for a special edition of It's Getting Drafty in here. We're going to do a I'm not supposed to say the actual game, the football game on Sunday. That's super. We're going to do an
Bologna is
all-time
dead.
Yeah, what the hell? All-time NFL player draft. So we're gonna do that on Sunday morning. That'll be at 11 o'clock. And again, I'll call it Luke? What did you call it again? Was it the Mimosa Hour or the Bloody
Mimosa
Mary?
hour. It's
The
nice.
Bloody Mary Hour. So yeah, we're gonna be doing both of those. So be on the lookout. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tainted Glove here. Don't forget to like and subscribe the Chicago Sports Bums. Those guys put together some pretty terrific content. Just outstanding stuff on a weekly basis. So,
Yes, the bumps have become a regular rotation of me watching.
yeah.
I appreciate
So,
you guys.
I was gonna talk bad about you, but you came back. No, but seriously, consider subscribing to them on their YouTube. Check them out. Jason and Johnny and Bologna have been putting out some really good stuff. And that's why one of the reasons why we wanted to work with them for Yumper and Swole. And I mean, doing shit like this is pretty.
No,
fun.
you guys are awesome. I just want to thank you, everyone at the Tainted Glove. Everyone's been awesome. Pete has been one of our biggest supporters since the start, and we're looking forward to doing more things with you guys. We've got the Whiskey at Comiskey thing going. We'll be there opening day. We're bringing some bottles and some stuff, and it'll be fun.
For sure.
Right on. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up then. This is the first episode of Pop-Up Sox. I have no idea when we're going to do Pop-Up Sox again. I guess tomorrow they could sign Michael Wacha, and I'll get on here and just start screaming about Michael Wacha, I guess. But
Stupid the fucking game.
Right, stupid. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you again, Bologna and Yump, and we'll see you guys soon.
See you guys later.
Thanks, guys.